Well, hello, A to B for Me Nation. Don Hastings here, and I hope you had a great week. We've got a good one for you today called The Seven Benefits of Adversity. Some of you are probably like, benefits of adversity. Yeah, let me hear what those are. Well, I'm going to start off with a quote by psychologist Dr. Joyce Brothers, and I might be dating myself and dating some of you out there as well because she hadn't been around for a while, but she was relevant at one point. But this is a great quote she had. The person interested in success has to learn to view failure as a healthy, inevitable part of the process of getting to the top. And that is so true. We just have to look at adversity and look at our failures differently if we're going to make it to the top. And of course, we talked about that a little bit last week as well. And again, we're working again here with my buddy here, John Maxwell, Failing Forward. If you don't have the book, I probably ought to hop out and get that one. It's one of the great ones to have in your library. But let's get started today with number one here, which is adversity develops resilience. And we all need resilience. And well, first thing I want you to do is think of a time when you faced adversity in your life. And I mean, that could have been as early as this morning, right? But if you were to encounter the same adversity today or this afternoon, would you be better prepared for it? And of course, the answer is because you've already faced it and you've moved past it once, you're better able to handle that adversity again. So to achieve your dreams, you must embrace adversity and make failure a regular part of your life. Let me say that once again, you got to make failure just a regular part of your life, because if you're not failing, you're probably not really moving forward. In other words, if you're not failing, you're not doing anything and you're not doing enough. And I love this quote. It says, nothing in life breeds resilience like adversity and failure. And it will. It's going to give you that stick-to-itness just to keep on keeping on. All right, well, let's look at number two. Adversity develops maturity. Oh, wow. I think we need more of that in the world right now. Let's get some maturity in our life. Because adversity can make you better if you don't let it make you bitter. And maybe I'll say that one again. It'll make you better if you don't let it make you bitter. Now, the problems we face and overcome prepare our hearts for future difficulties. And then adversity promotes that wisdom and maturity. And as the world continues to change at a faster rate, maturity with flexibility becomes increasingly important. And flexibility is so important these days. And these qualities come from weathering difficulties. And it's just a continual cycle, because you're going to go right back into something else in your life. And you're going to go right back into the problems we face, overcome, prepare our hearts for future difficulty. You're going to go right back through this again, time and time again. So take heart of this wheel, because you're really going to want that. That's what's developing your maturity. And it'll also, develop your flexibility as you go through life. So keep that one in mind when you go through here. Now, adversity also pushes the envelope of accepted performance. Until we learn from experience that we can live through adversity, we're reluctant to buck mindless tradition. So it's like, the old story we used to tell all the time was the ham story of the mom would cut off both ends of the ham before she put it in the pan and put it in the oven. And so the daughter, she just went ahead and she did the same thing. She just cut both ends off the hand and put it in the oven, didn't ask any questions. And so one of the younger daughters said, well, Molly, why do you do that? She said, well, I don't know why I cut that. My mama always did it. So they went to mama, and mama said, well, I always did it because my mama did it. So later in the day, at family gathering, great grandma came over and they asked great grandma, why she always cut the two ends of the ham off. And she said, well, I cut the two ends of the ham off because my pan wasn't big enough. Well, after all this time, everybody's just doing this stuff and doing this stuff and doing this stuff. And it was just accepted performance. Nobody was even questioning things. It was just a mindless tradition. Well, it's then that we need to push the envelope of performance and challenge ourselves to press our physical and mental limits. When we get stuck in that thing of just doing this rote stuff and not really knowing why, and just sometimes being frustrated by it, even, you've got to get out of that. You got to push the envelope, and you got to press your physical and mental limits. It's kind of like being a trapeze artist. When you're convinced that we have a strong and reliable net beneath us, we can then concentrate on the trapeze swinging toward us, and we're not worried about falling. If you've ever taken one of those little courses that they have them out in Vegas, I know, the trapeze class, I tell you what, it's amazing that the feeling of knowing that after you fall, the first time you fall is kind of scary, but when you realize, oh, well, this isn't so bad, then you can finally get your mind off of falling and get your mind on grabbing that trapeze. And the same thing in life. And that's that net underneath there. That's called experience. And the more experience you get, the more you realize it's just not that tough to fail. I mean, this morning I was doing today's video day. I was doing a ton of videos, and I tell you, this one PowerPoint was giving me all kinds of gruff, and but it was one of those things. Well, just keep on going, because you just get it done. Just get it done. But that net is experience, and you want to definitely have a big net. And the only way to get that is to fail, because failure prompts a person to rethink the status quo, and we always want to be rethinking the status quo. All right. Well, adversity provides greater opportunity. Eliminating problems limits our potential. So if you go through life and you don't have any issues, you don't have any problems, and this, that, and the other, it's absolutely limiting your potential because you're not growing. And just about every successful entrepreneur out there has numerous stories of adversity and setbacks that open the doors to greater opportunities. This is a great one. For example, in the book, Failing Forward, John talks about in 1978, Bernie Marcus was fired from Handy Dan. It was a do-it-yourself hardware retail. We had it down in Texas. I don't know if they had it up here, but a lot of you probably don't know who Bernie Marcus was. But this prompted him to team up with Arthur Blank to start their own business in 1979. And it was called Home Depot. Well, in the fiscal year 2020, I looked it up, revenues were $132.1 billion. Now, I'm sure in 1978, Bernie Marcus wasn't all that pumped up that he got fired from Handy Dan, right? I mean, he had bills to pay, things going on. He had issues, but then he teamed up with Arthur, and a year later, they started the Home Depot, and look at them now. There's no way that from 1978 to 2020, Marcus would have had anywhere near any claim on $132.1 billion if it stayed at Handy Dan. So that was one of those adversities and setbacks that really, really paid off, right? So we want to think about those things. Another thing that is really important about adversity is it prompts innovation. And you just have to, you look at every company or every organization you've been around, it is what prompted that. You're talking research, you talk about just getting bigger goals and attaining better things in your company. But it progress, the whole 9 yards. It's all about adapting and learning. And that's what adversity prompts. The ability to innovate is at the heart of creativity, and creativity is a vital component in success. We must equate failure with innovation instead of defeat. So when you're looking at your failures, don't think of it, oh my God, I failed. Think of, well, okay, what innovation can I get out of this? What can I do differently? What is some cool thing that could make this thing be better for everybody, right? And this will free ourselves to try new things and get out there and stretch. And if we want to succeed, we must learn to make adjustments to the way we do things and continue to try again. And adversity helps to develop this ability. So if you want innovation, the only way to get it is to fail, adapt, and learn. So get out there and let's get some failing going on here. All right. Well, adversity recaps unexpected benefits. In science, mistakes always precede the truth. And that was a great quote by Horace Walpole, and it's so true. Now, the average person makes a mistake and automatically think that it's a failure. But some of the greatest stories of success can be found in the unexpected benefits of mistakes. Let's consider these. Thomas Edison, when he discovered the phonograph while trying to invent something entirely different, right? And I didn't know this one, but Kellogg's Corn Flakes resulted when boiled wheat was mistakenly left in a baking pan overnight. Well, goodness gracious, they're so happy that they made that mistake at this point, right? And ivory soap floats, the big thing that ivory soap actually floats, it's because the batch was left in a mixer too long and it got aerated. So that's why it floats. And then it was interesting when Scott towels, the paper towels, they were launched when a toilet paper machine put too many layers of tissue together. And they went, oh, well, this is pretty cool. This is pretty absorbent this way. So that's how the paper towel, Scott towels, were actually invented. So, if we hadn't had problems and issues in adversity, we wouldn't have had any of these things, So adversity also motivates. And I love this quote about a hero. It says, a hero is a real person or a main fictional character who, in the face of danger, combats adversity through feats of ingenuity, courage, or strength. So think about that. I mean, that's kind of the definition of an entrepreneur. In the face of adversity, they have great feats of ingenuity, courage, and strength. Because nothing can motivate a person like adversity. It just can't. Think about all the sports analogies. We're down. The locker room speeches. We're down. We got to get out there and make it happen, right? All the underdog stories out there that you just love, the feel good stories of folks who just, have disabilities or just had issues in their lives, and they came and they triumphed. They just kept at it. And this just our real life heroes, not our superheroes in capes, but our real life heroes every day. That were created due to adversity. And if you can step back from the negative circumstances facing you, you just take 3 deeps, you're going to be able to discover the positive benefits. And you always got to think about that. This week has been kind of challenging for me. I've been going through some new programs and doing some new things. And it's been a challenging week, but you just got to take 3 deep, step back and look at the negatives and say, okay, let me turn these things into positive benefits. And what did I really learn and how did I grow? So do that every single week. And in the game of life, it's a good idea to have a few early losses, which relieves you of the pressure of trying to maintain an undefeated season. And that was by Bill Vaughn. He was a columnist back in the day. But it's true. When you get out there, the pressure of let's say a football team, being 14-0 and 15-0 every single week, you're not just worried about losing. Now you got this undefeated season on your back. So maybe just go out and lose one early and get it off your plate and quit trying to be the 72 Miami Dolphins and get out there and just play a game, right? But in the game of life, maybe you need a few early losses. They actually do kind of help you, I think. But always measure an obstacle next to the size of the dream you're pursuing. So, when you're out there and you're seeing this huge thing in your way, you have to say, okay, well, is it really huge? Based on what I want in life, based on what my purpose-driven life is, and the goals and desires and things I really want, what my destiny is this obstacle really that big? Well, if it is, maybe your dreams aren't big enough, right? But you got to measure every obstacle by the size of your dream that you're pursuing. And it's all in how you look at it. Every single thing we go through in life is just how we look at it. So there you go. Those are the 7 benefits of adversity. If you need to review them, just hit that little rewind thing at the bottom there and go back and see it again. But I hope you got some great stuff out of it. And don't worry about failure. Just keep on failing forward, right? And keep moving in the direction of your dreams, because you know what? You got this. And we got this. So reach out to us here at A to B for me if I can ever give you any help or assistance. And we'll talk to you later. Have a great